Hey, Team Thompson. I've got to start by apologizing. I have not gotten a video to you in 2 whole days, and I'm sorry. Tuesdays, you guys can just expect that I'm not going to have a video for you. Tuesdays are the days that I'm filming all the lessons and I'm trying to upload everything to It's Learning and work collaboratively with Mr. Greenstein and Miss Datema and Miss Jaber. And so just on Tuesdays, no YouTube video from Miss Thompson. It's too much. But yesterday I sat down to get it ready and then I had some computer issues, fixed them, and then just forgot to revisit the video. Sorry. I've been loving my Google Meets with kids. So if you are not meeting with Miss Thompson on Google Meet, you should be. It's fun. Today I just played Boggle with Addie on Google Meet. And I've just worked to help kids get a schedule, to keep up with their work. Some kiddos I do assignments with, and we turn in our assignments together. I want to help you in Google Meet. So sign up for a conference through the form, or you can message me and say you want one on It's Learning, and I will make it happen. I just got off a team meeting phone call with the whole third grade team, so Greenstein, Datema, Jaber, Mitchell, and Maury, and we met the new principal for next year. And she is so calm and kind and inviting, and I'm really excited to work with her. I think you guys are going to love her energy and her spirit. I think you're going to love her, so I'm excited about that. Okay, so I've had 2 lunch bunches this week. They were a huge success. I've thought of some ways to make them even more fun, and I am going to do Mondays and Wednesdays our lunch bunch, and I will continue to do them. So once you've had a lunch bunch, if I get through the whole class list and we have more days of the school year, then I will continue to pull names for lunch bunches. So since I'm talking about lunch bunches, I'm going to pull 4 names out for our lunch bunch on Monday. Okay? Okay. First person coming to lunch bunch on Monday, let's see, that's going to be May 4th. I think it's May 4th, is Vita. See you Monday, Vita, at our lunch bunch. Okay, so we got Vita. Somebody write this down so I don't forget it. Okay, next person coming to lunch bunch, Gigi, lunch bunch Monday. Hope you can make it. Okay, let's get a boy. Okay, we got Vita, Gigi, and Andy. Want to come to lunch bunch Monday? I want to see you there. Work on some Lego creations to show off for us. Gigi, get us some dragon drawings. And Vita, I want to hear more about your cat. Maybe we can meet the cat at lunch bunch. Okay, next one. Okay, here's the next one. Connor. I cannot wait to see Vita, Gigi, Andy, and Connor at lunch bunch on Monday. You guys are going to get an invite to the lunch bunch through your parents' email. They will accept it to say you're coming. And yeah, I'm also going to send you a link on It's Learning at the time lunch bunch starts Monday, which is noon. So you don't have to be on your parents' email to get on to the Google Meet call. You got to get onto It's Learning, and it'll be in your chat messages, the link, okay, at noon. Most kids have been eating lunch while we do it, and we play some games, and we chat, and it's just super chill and super fun. And it's a way for you guys to talk to your friends. So I hope you guys have liked lunch bunches, those of you who've had one. All right, Wild Robot. We're finishing it this week, so that means I might have to put out a long video tomorrow if we need to finish it tomorrow. Okay, we've got quite a few pages left, so I might take that back. We might finish it next week. All right, chapter 67, The Sunrise. Okay, I got to remember, they just had that big celebration, the big party. Oh, yeah. And a ship was passing by, and they saw Roz celebrating and that big bonfire. What's going to happen? Oh, gosh. Kind of nervous. Like, is the ship going to take her back? And I know I've read this before, but I forget how it ends. All right, here we go. Chapter 67, The Sunrise. By dawn, the bonfire had dwindled to a smoldering hill of ash. Everyone else had gone home, and only Roz and Brightbill remained in the meadow. They lay in the grass together, watching as the soft light of morning crept up from the horizon, and Roz said, "Let's go for a walk." The robot and the goose hiked and flew up to their favorite spot on the grassy ridge, and then they kept going. They followed the ridge to the mountain and climbed all the way up to the craggy peak, just in time to see the sunrise. "I climbed up here once before," said Roz as the sun's first rays warmed her body. "I sat on this very rock, looked out at the island, and thought I would always be alone, but I was wrong." "Are you happy, Ma?" The robot thought for a moment. "I am." "I'm happy too," said Brightbill. Brightbill closed his eyes and felt the wind and sun. There was a slight chill in the air that made him feel alive. Everything seemed just right, and then he heard a distant buzzing sound. The goose squinted to the south and saw a familiar shape in the sky. He turned to his mother and said, "Ma, there's an airship flying this way." Chapter 68, The Ricos. I think that's how you spell it or pronounce it. The Ricos? Look at that ship, the airship. It's a different kind of airplane than I've seen. The airship approached from the south like some giant migratory bird. The ship was a sleek white triangle with a single dark window facing forward. 3 identical robots stared out the window. The robots resembled Roz, but they were bigger and bulkier and shinier. The word Rico was lightly etched into each of their torsos, followed by their individual unit number: Rico 1, Rico 2, and Rico 3. The Ricos flew in a low circle around the island. They saw a smoking hill of ash. They saw mysterious wooden domes, and they saw 4 dead robots scattered across the shore. The airship hovered above the robot gravesite for a moment. Then it floated up over the island and lowered itself onto a small meadow at the foot of the mountain. The engines blasted air toward the ground, bending trees and tearing grass. Then the landing gear sank into the soil. The engines powered down, and all was quiet. A door hummed open, and out stepped the Ricos. They took several long strides into the meadow and stopped. A shadowy figure was lurking at the forest edge. The Ricos turned and faced it. They stood flush together like a sparkling wall, and then the shadowy figure began to move. Out from the trees walked some sort of 2-legged creature. It was dusty and dirty. Butterflies flitted around the flowers that sprouted from its body. One of its feet was made of wood. And then the creature spoke. "Hello, my name is Roz." Oh, wow. These Ricos are big. We're kind of hearing the story from their side. The narrator knows what's going on with them. Chapter 69, The Defective Robot. "Hello, Rosum, Unit 7134. We are the Ricos. We are here to retrieve all Rosum units." Retrieve means that they're here to get them, to take them, to gather them. The cold, flat voice came from Rico 1. He and his partners stood absolutely still and kept their glowing eyes locked on their target. "There are 4 others," said Roz, "but they are dead. We have already located the remains of the other units," said Rico 1. "We will collect them later. Now come with us." The 3 Ricos motioned Roz to the airship, but she didn't move. "Where have you come from?" she said. The Ricos turned and stared at Roz. "Do not ask questions," said Rico 1. "Where will you take me?" "Do not ask questions." "Well, why must I leave?" "Do not ask questions." "I'm not going anywhere until I get some answers." There was a brief silence as Rico 1 computed his next move, and then he began to speak. "1 year ago, a cargo ship carrying 500 Rosum units was sunk by a hurricane. 495 units have been retrieved from the ocean floor. We have come in search of the last 5, and we have located them. Rosum, Unit 7134, you are property of Tech Lab Industries. We will return you to the factory, where the makers will refurbish you and sell you to a worksite. You will then live on that worksite indefinitely. Now come with us." Oh gosh. "But I live here," said Roz. "That is incorrect, Rosum Unit 7134. Any further resistance will be proof of defectiveness, and we will deactivate you." Oh gosh. But Roz had more questions. "Who are the makers? What's my purpose? Why can I not ask questions?" This unit is defective, said Rico 1 to his partners. Commence deactivation. In perfect unison, the Ricos stepped toward Roz. They raised their blocky hands, ready to restrain their target, ready to shut her down with the press of a button. But a loud squawk and streak of feathers cut them off. Stay away from my mama! Bright Bill swooped into the meadow and started hopping around, ready to defend his mother. The Ricos stopped and looked down at the goose. Of course they didn't understand his words. They heard only meaningless squawks. Wah, wah, wah. And then they heard their target squawking back at them, to him. Bright Bill, get out of here, said Roz in the language of the animals. These robots are dangerous. What do they want? They want to take me away. The Ricos stared at their target, trying to understand why she was exchanging these weird noises with a goose, and then new noises began rising up. Rustlings and shrieks echoed from the forest. Animals were gathering. Their wild voices called out to one another. Roz needs our help. Those robots want to take her away. We have to do something. The uproar in the forest grew louder and louder. The Ricos peered past Roz, toward the mysterious noises, but saw only foliage. Suddenly, shadows swept across the meadow, and Bright Bill's flock dove onto the Ricos. The geese furiously flapped and pecked and wrapped their wings around the robot faces, clinging to the Ricos like feathery masks, distracting them, blinding them. Bright Bill turned to his mother. Run! This is crazy. Do you guys think that Roz is going to get taken? She'll never see Bright Bill again if she gets taken by these guys. Should I keep going? Okay, Sophie says yes. I'm going to keep going. The hunt begins. While his flock distracted the Ricos, Bright Bill darted around behind them and desperately searched for buttons. He had once shut down his own mother with a click, and now he'd do the same for these intruders. But he found no buttons on these robots, only smooth surfaces. Clearly, the Ricos were not designed to be shut down so easily. Giant hands swung through the air, and the geese were swatted away. Loudwing was plucked by her foot and flung to the ground. She crawled into the weeds as the others scrambled up and over the trees. A quick scan by the robots revealed that Roz was gone. The three Ricos turned and marched back to the airship. The door hummed open, and the robots disappeared inside. And when they stepped back into the meadow, each was holding a silver rifle in his hands. The hunt for Roz was on. Without speaking, the Ricos marched away from one another, fanning out in their standard search pattern. Rico 1 marched straight toward the southern tip of the island, Rico 2 marched straight up the mountainside, and Rico 3 marched straight into the forest. I can't stop here. It's chapter 71, The Forest Assault. Rico 3 marched through the forest with steady, stomping strides. His blocky head swiveled from side to side, scanning for any sign of Roz. But he was distracted. You see, everywhere the Rico went, he was met by shrieking animals. He didn't know it, but he was in the midst of a coordinated assault. Swooper hooted orders from above. Hawks, sparrows, owls, dive in front of his eyes. Fink barked orders from below. Hares, weasels, foxes dashed between his legs. The forest was seething with an army of wild animals, distracting the robot, luring the terrible thing deeper into their trap. Chit-Chat leaped out from the branches and clawed at the robot's eyes, yelling, Anyone who shows up on our island and tries to take my friend's mother away has a big problem, and it's me. Then she leaped back into the branches. The robot pointed his rifle at the squirrel and pulled the trigger. A blazing beam of light shot through the forest and sent tree limbs crashing to the ground. It grazed poor Chit-Chat, singeing the end of her tail. She ignored the pain and scurried up to the safety of the canopy. Canopy would be like the treetop. With each stride, the ground grew a little softer and the robot sank a little deeper until he was up to his waist in thick, heavy muck. His churning legs slowed to a stop and he stood there computing whether to move forward or backward. Rico 3 was not an easy target. Begin the bombardment, ordered Swooper. The sky darkened as a swarm of birds descended from the treetops. They swooped past the robot and splattered his face with their droppings. Bird after bird swooped and splattered, and the Rico's eyes were instantly caked in filth. Don't let up, screeched the owl. Give it everything you've got. There seemed to be, so they're pooping on the robot so he can't see. There seemed to be an endless stream of birds with an endless amount of droppings. Rico 3 let go of his weapon and wiped his filthy face with both hands. That was the moment the fuzzy bandits had been waiting for. They dashed out from the weeds, snatched the rifle with their nimble hands, and dragged it away. Tawny and Crown Point looked on from the underbrush. Those are the deer. The buck lowered his head, and the raccoons carefully placed the rifle upon his antlers. Then the deer and the raccoons slipped into the shadows. By the time Rico 3 realized his weapon was missing, it was too late. He let out a sad electronic tone. And then, as the birds continued their bombardment, the robot turned and blindly trudged back through the muck. It was now time for the final stage of the plan. Broadfoot the bull moose emerged from the trees and stood directly in the path of the blinded robot. Rico 3 had no idea that his every step brought him closer to the mighty animal. When the robot was in range, Broadfoot turned and kicked back with his powerful hind legs. There was a sharp crack, and dung sprayed from the Rico's head. The moose kicked again. Crack, and the robot's head flopped to one side. A tear in his neck exposed a tangle of silver tubes. But Rico 3's legs kept pumping, so Broadfoot kept kicking. He pounded the robot's head with his heavy hooves, denting and crushing it into an ugly shape. With one final crack, the head broke loose, soared through the air, and squelched into the muck. The headless robot fizzled and smoked. His legs ground to a halt, and he never moved again. Man, I am so happy this is the Rico's head because one time a couple weeks ago I flipped through the book and I saw this and I was so scared that this was Roz and I had forgot what happened. All right, that's where I'm going to stop today because we're almost at 20 minutes for our video, but we just read like 5 chapters. Chapter 72 says the mountain rumble. And we have 8 more chapters, so maybe I can finish it tomorrow. All right, guys. This has been fun. Vita, Gigi, Andy, Connor, you're my Lunch Bunch Monday. I'll have a Lunch Bunch Wednesday, so I'll pull out my next Lunch Bunch tomorrow or Monday. Let me know if you guys need anything. I'm excited about this week's lessons on It's Learning. You're continuing your extreme weather research. In social studies, you're doing work with Native Americans, which I'm so fascinated by. In one of our lessons, I mentioned that there's an app for phones called Native Lands, and it looks like this, Native Land. You see that? And if you get the app, you can find out wherever you are, if you're traveling or if you're staying in your house or if you're, I don't know, at the grocery store. If you look on the app, it'll tell you whose land you're on. Right? So it'll tell you what native land you're standing on. So my house is on Osage in Miami native land, which I find pretty fascinating. Yeah. So anyways, check out that app. I thought it was pretty cool. And in writing, you guys are writing fractured fairy tales, which is so fun. So you're going to be writing a fairy tale through another character's perspective. Be creative and try and make me laugh. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Again, I'm here if you need me. I miss you. Oh, real quick, I wanted to show you something. Tomorrow, I'm going to parade past Miss Simon's house to congratulate her on her retirement. And look at this. Woo! Does it look like Miss Simon's on our video? Isn't this funny? So I'm going to make a huge sign that says, peace, love, Simon. You know, she's kind of hippie and likes peace signs, smiley faces. I love this. James keeps getting freaked out because it's like sitting in our dining room and it's like this giant head. Anyways, see you later. Peace out.